Big Sky Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio.
This is awesome. Let's stand back to try and get it. So you've got almost like a massive heart with these branches. And an X in the middle. And I want to show that none of these X's are footholds. They're all not in situ. This one that makes this arch is here. Again, I can just pick that up, and then this piece of the arch is to this one at the back. Again, I can pick that up. So none of them are in situ. Now they've been laid together to make that big X. And then positioned so they've got this one that comes in and over, and this one that comes in and over. That's art. That is really art. Heart X. Very cool. And then just behind it is this. Again, got in situ. None of these branches here are in situ, they're just positioned. I think this big X. And literally just turn, and there's another one.
And we are back once again, continuing on with what we're up to this month, which is to say cryptids in Europe. And if you guys saw part 1 last week, we're of course talking about cryptids in the Czech Republic with Jakub, and we're planning on having him back again. Everybody seemed to enjoy it, and he's got tons of stories. But now we're going to go a little bit north of there, up into Germany. And we have the 2 top dogs around as far as doing research in Greater Deutschland. And of course, on one part of your screen, you are seeing Bigfoot in Germany, Mach 1, Robert Boston. And on the other screen, Bigfoot in Germany, Mach 2, Tom Coburn. They both have channels on YouTube. You can find both of them. Robert's is Bigfoot in Germany, and Tom's is Trails in the Woods. Robert, formerly doing Bigfoot in Germany research, boots on the ground, and getting amazing stuff. He is now living back in the U.S. in Nevada, and Tom is still currently living in Germany, doing boots on the ground field research there and posting videos of the cool stuff that he's finding. And hey, thanks for going out and running around the woods on my birthday and finding Bigfoot tracks in Germany. That was like a great birthday present for me.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. That's cool.
Yeah, I looked at it afterwards and he went, what day was he out? Yeah, he was out here on my birthday running around the woods finding Bigfoot tracks in Germany. Thanks, great present, man. Really appreciate it.
Hasn't been down long. There was this one, these 2. big one. So, again you can see something's just stepped in there, big, comes back here. Broken, snapped down twigs, but not in there. See here. See that in the middle? Snapped and bent, broken. Toe area. Comes back. Big one. Let me take my hold on, guys. My fingers are frozen. Hold on. What's longer than that? So there. 14 inches. Probably roughly. 14, 15 possibly. Come back a little bit more. Oh God. It's probably 5, close to 6 inch ball there going on. Heel 4.5, say. Could be close to 5. You can see that, I mean. Again, I just don't want to cast. You can't cast things like that. It's just waste of time. Right, that's that. Where's the next step? So difficult. I see one up there though. There's one here. Very flat area. Pressed down. This is all high, you know, high ground. Then watch. It's flat. Everything's flat. These things going across have been bent down into the toes there. There's a big toe area here where this has been flattened down. It's got some serious gait on it. I mean, I can give you, I'll do a rough guess on the gate. I can see the other print from here, so leave that there. Yes. I mean, it's probably looking at 2 meters, give or take. Give or take, so it's probably 2 meters. One. Yes, probably about 2 meters. Coming along these ridges, these pools. Just been walking along here, I tell you that.
Contrary to what some people might want to tell you, that there's no evidence that there's Bigfoot in Europe, those people are just idiots and losers, and they haven't actually put in the time to check it out. So they just like to naysay things that, you know, are above their pay grade. So we're going to actually expose the fact that there are things in Europe that most of these jabronis don't know about, won't do the research on, and therefore aren't going to find out about. And this is another example here. Like I said last week, Bigfoot in the Czech Republic. This week, Bigfoot in Germany. And next week, Bigfoot in Transylvania. We're going to be talking about cryptids in Romania, Transylvania, and the dreadful gypsy cult that's connected to the vampires and the werewolves over there. So there's cryptids all across Europe. We all know it's true. Come on, admit it. Europeans got a blind spot. And you know what? That's why there's no guys with German names doing Bigfoot research. You got to get somebody from outside their country to come in there and do all the work for them.
Yeah, you do.
So, yeah. So with that, let me turn it over to Tom Coburn. Tom, how's things been going over there with your research? And I see you're still out in the woods running around all the time.
Yeah, I'm trying to be as much as I can. You know, finding some. Well, I found a lot of new stuff over the years since we last spoke. You know, lots of new different structures and things like that. New prints. This year I'll be doing another trip back to the UK. So I should get a few episodes in over there. But you know, it's been going well. I'm always going to new areas. You know, that's never exhausted here. There's forests everywhere, so as well.
Now, you started out, you grew up over in the UK, and when you were over there as a younger person, you were running around doing camping and hiking, all that kind of stuff. And you even did research on the black cat phenomena over there, right?
Yeah. That came after, you know, we used to own a lot like land over there, and me and my sister, we were going off down to the woods. And one day, I used to have a tree house down there in the corner. And on the back field, a black panther ran across the field. I mean, this thing was huge, and it was way bigger than a dog, bigger than a Labrador or anything. Jet black, you know, and how it was running, you know, very, you know, stretched out, you know, tail as long as its body. It was, you know, my sister never went to the woods again after that.
I saw a really good picture that somebody got from over there that I hadn't really seen before, that they just were talking about, you know, black cats in the UK, and they flashed the picture up as an example. And there's like, how can you look at that and think that's a house cat or something? That thing is huge.
Yeah.
And like you said, a tail as long as its body practically. That's not a house cat. You can tell by the scale of everything around it. It's freaking huge.
Yeah, they're huge, and they're fast. You know, this was full sprint going across this field. I know because I used to see this field from my old trios, and there used to be these hares. They're like a big rabbit, you know. But we call them a hare. You probably have them in America. They always lived on this field, and I've always thought it was probably chasing one of these hares across the field. You know, this was full pit run, tail going, you know, with this movement. It was no dog.
Yeah.
You know?
So that'll tend to want to keep you out of the woods and whatnot. Did you have any kind of sightings of the woodwose or anything over there where you were at, or any idea that they might be around?
No, not where we were. I wasn't really looking for it back then on our own land, you know, or in the woods. But there was quite a large woodland there in Staffordshire. It used to be probably about a 20-minute drive away from me. It's very famous there because of high strangeness this woodland has from UFOs. They have werewolf reports every year.
Oh God.
And also, a lot of people have said they've seen something called like an ape man there. So, you know, they never say Bigfoot. People never really think, oh, it's Bigfoot, if you know what I mean. But yeah,
Just the local ape man. That's all.
Yeah.
We had a local ape man over here. So when was it that you really? How did you manage to get into Germany and then go, hey, there's Bigfoot here?
Yeah, so it was always on my mind. There is in that wood I was just talking about. I've heard rock clacks and things like that. You know there, and we found a few. This was a long time ago, but we were finding a lot of. We were finding structures, but we never put it together. If you know what I mean. Then I came to Germany. Yeah, I used to live in Trinidad and Tobago for a while in the Caribbean. Met a girl, moved to Germany, and then I was always out in the forest here. I love it out there. And it wasn't long. I used to teach my girlfriend about the birds and things like that, and nature and survival aspects and things like that. And started finding signs, structures, prints, fast. It was pretty instant. And then I was taking pictures and things like that, but I wasn't really, keeping or holding it so much until the past 2 years, say, where I've been properly trying to film it and
getting serious about documenting it. So when did this, between look for big cats and wait, it's too scary to go in the woods, and then, moving around a lot, ending up in Germany, where did the whole Bigfoot thing creep into your consciousness that would actually make you look at tracks in Germany and go, holy crap, that's a Bigfoot. They're making structures here.
Yeah, I've always been interested in it. I've always been interested in hominins and learning about ancient, man and things. My mum always used to teach me about it. So it was always in my mind. The whatever's out there probably on that line of what it is, because that to me makes sense. That we know that these things existed, and to me that's more believable than anything in a way. I don't think it's an alien or anything.
No, they're all over the place. All right, let's throw it over to our superhero Bigfoot in Germany Mach 1 Robert Boston with this one. Now, for the people that maybe weren't around here during our much earlier shows when I had you on a few times, how this is a kind of a fun story. How did you first run into a Bigfoot? So Robert isn't a pencil pusher guy. What did you used to do previous to having the Bigfoot encounter?
Special forces.
Okay.
Yeah, well, just me went camping.
Just him went camping, okay.
Yeah, and one of them showed up in my camp. Came into the camp. Big female. Just walked right into the camp, and she was making with her left fist. Making a fist and releasing, fist and release it. She was pissed off at me for showing up there.
Where was this? In the Sierra?
This was in the Sierras, yeah, Sierra.
Yeah.
At Wrights Lake. And anybody that knows anything about Wrights Lake knows that there's Bigfoot in the area. I didn't know. So, yeah.
Found out right about that.
I found out, yeah.
Did you have any idea that they existed or anything before that, or ever given any thought to it?
No, I had given some thought when I was up in the what the hell's those mountains up near the Trinity Alps. I gave some thought to it that time, but we had a deer walk right into our camp and was taking up residence. But it fell over on my buddy and got tangled up in his tent. That was funny. And then something started scratching on the side of my tent. That freaked me out.
That would do it.
Yeah, that would do it. Scratch my tent in the middle of the night.
So this, what was it, the third time when you got your tent grabbed and dragged?
No, that was then.
Okay.
That was the first time. Dragged me up the side of a mountain.
Okay, the much more stretched out, not Reader's Digest version, please.
Yeah, I know. My stroke.
I know. So you were actually in the tent with all your gear.
With all the gear.
Not quite
yes.
asleep.
Yeah.
So you got the whole weight of the tent plus the weight of you, which is what, a couple
Plus
hundred
all
pounds
the
at
gear.
least.
Couple 100 pounds worth of gear.
So
And just took
400 or
me.
500 pounds.
Yeah, just took me right up the side of the hill. And
You were awake and you saw there was
I was
something
awake,
messing around
yeah.
with the tent, right?
Yeah. Completely awake.
So what did you see?
I saw a finger scratching the side of the tent. I should have hit the side of the tent, but I didn't. And then just grabbed the corner and took off.
Basically how I got into this crazy rabbit hole. What got me interested in Sasquatch to begin with. Basically, it happened because of a face-to-face encounter back in 2005. I don't remember the actual case number, but if you go on the BFRO's website, wow, look at that one back there. That's a big, huge freaking tree they made into a leaner back there. If you go on the BFRO's website, go to California, El Dorado County, and then how the heck was that worded, the title on that thing? Backpackers Moonlit Encounter on the Trail to Enchanted Pools or something like that. You'll see it. I think there's only 2 of them for August of 2005. One of them was a fisherman, the other one was for me. And at the time, it was when it hit the website, it was extremely, extremely well publicized in the Bigfoot community. Because of that, I've had a lot of requests for interviews. I have refused every one of them for 11 years now. 1992, December 13th, 1992. Me and 3 other military buddies, and I say military because one of them was a Navy SEAL, the other 2 were Marine Force Recon. I'm going to change the names to protect crazy. John was a Navy SEAL. Mike and Mark were both the Marine Force Recons. And John had come up with this crazy idea to go bear hunting in one of his old stomping grounds, which was in the Mendocino National Forest, up above Elk Creek, the town of Elk Creek, California. And it's on the intercoastal range, kind of like if it was the eastern slope of the Sierra Nevadas. The other range in California is the coastal range. So the eastern slope of this particular area was where, when we have problem bears in California, what they do is they dart them, tranquilize them, put them in a cage, take them someplace off into the wilderness, and release them. This area was supposed to be where they release all the rogue bears that aren't afraid of people anymore. So you figured, that'd be a good place to go hunting. So basically how it was set up, the camp was set up, and that's kind of important, was John had his tent on the right side. Mike and Mark had their tent, which was one of those big, huge 6-man house tent, cabin tent type deals. And then I had a 3 or 4 person dome tent that was on the left hand side. So basically, my tent was on the left, and it butted up right to a hill, and then above that hill was the forest. So I was basically the closest to the forest. Mike and Mark was in the middle. John was on the left, and the trucks, we had 2 trucks with us, was kind of like in the four rounds. Basically, we made a perimeter around the campfire ring. Got all set up that first night. Got the fire going, made some dinner, ate, sat around with the, everybody had their poison, bottles of whiskey of whatever flavor, but had a few shots because it was extremely cold. We were about 7,000 feet elevation, extremely cold. So we all had a few shots to warm the blood up, a little antifreeze. Because this area was so highly concentrated with rogue bears, and it actually has the highest population of mountain lion anywhere in the state of California. We're all basically sleeping on our pistols. The tent that John had, like I said, it was one of those ultralight backpacking tents, basically kind of like a little tube that had a rain fly on it. But the rain fly, the guy lines that tie down the rain fly were they stuck way out from his tent. I don't know, like the whole footprint from his tent with that the rain fly was probably 10 or 12 feet. It's kind of crazy, really. So we all go to bed, nice and warm and toasty with our whiskey. That was a nice break. Probably in bed 10 minutes maybe at the most, and suddenly John is screaming like a little girl. Grab our pistols, everybody grabs their pistols, jumps out of the tent, and goes running out there to find out what the hell's wrong. And we see just a pile of nylon and struggle going on. What ended up happening was this really huge buck had climbed, or had come running through our camp, tripped over his guy lines off of his tent and fell right on top of it. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. We just, we thought about popping this deer, using it for camp meat, but figured that's probably not really a good idea. So we basically got it free, let it go. All had a good laugh at John's expense, and then that was it. It was time to go back to bed. So we went back to bed, and again, probably 5 minutes into after we lay down, all of a sudden I hear a scratching noise on my tent, on the corner of my tent, right next to my head. And it's like, well, what the hell is that? And I roll over, grab my pistol, roll over, find out what the hell's going on, and what looks like a very large finger is scratching the corner of my tent, right where all the seams come together, right where the pole gets put into the tent there to hold it up. A split second at the most, a hand grabbed that corner of the tent, the whole damn thing, and started dragging me up the hill. I went tumbling to the other side of the tent, and I got probably 200 pounds of gear at least. So 200 pounds of gear plus me, dragged up probably a 70-degree slope up the side of this hill into the forest. And in about 2 or 3 seconds, I was finally able to let out a scream. And so it was my turn to scream like a little girl. And as soon as I did, it stopped, it let go. And, just took off into the woods. I get, first thing I do, I find my pistol in my pile of gear that's, it's now a complete mess inside my tent. Grab my pistol, unzip my fly, not my pants fly, the tent fly, the door. I come running out, and I'm up on top of this hill. I look down into our camp. Mike and Mark are climbing out of their tent, and John's climbing out of his. And we're all wondering, basically what the hell just happened. At the time, I think I weighed probably about 200 pounds. At least 200 pounds of gear, 250 pounds perhaps. And in a matter of seconds, straight up that slope. I was probably actually, all told, 20 feet up the slope, and then another maybe 10 feet into the woods before it had let go. It was pretty crazy. They came over, helped me get my tent back down the hill, and we basically spent the rest of the night pulling guard duty shifts. Because first of all, what the hell would make a deer that size? He's an old deer. He's a big old wise deer. Why in the hell would he go running through a camp? And we didn't really think about that too much until later, when I started doing research on what happened. Like, I don't know, what is it, 2005? Over a decade later, when I had my face-to-face, that's when I really started doing some digging. So basically, between the weird shit and the cold up there at that elevation, we ended up moving down to Lower Nye Campground the very next morning. But we all took turns guard duty. For instance, I had built a Thompson Hawkins black powder 50 caliber single shot muzzle loader. And that's what I had wanted, if I had a shot at a deer, that's what I wanted to take at the bear. If I'd had a shot on a bear, that's what I had wanted to take it with. But just in case my shot was much longer, like I said, I was in a previous video, I was a Special Forces sniper. I had taken a M14, this was back when you could get M14s in California, and had converted it into an M21 sniper system. So that and my 45 is what I'm pulling guard duty with. The other guys had 30-06s. And that was it. It was a very, very strange night. So, how do you explain that? At the time, Bigfoot wasn't even on my radar. I had spent, most of my life prior to the military, and then, more afterwards, I had never seen or heard of, really of a Bigfoot. Everybody had seen the Patterson-Gimlin film, in my age group. But, if that was true, there's one of them up at the, I just had a rock thrown at me. There's one of them up in the up in Bluff Creek area, if that even exists. I'd never seen anything that would suggest that Bigfoot exists. But unless you know what to look for, you don't know. So there's a nice little teepee back there in the sun. Probably can't see. I just got a wood knock. Well, I know where they're at today then. It's basically, it was one of those things that you can't explain, so you pile it away and just let it go. That was basically what I did.
With you and all your gear and the tent.
Up the side of the mountain. Up a mountain.
And of course, you were awake, so you were yelling and screaming.
Yeah. Crazy.
Anybody else there hear you yelling and screaming?
But yeah, the guys that were with me, they come climbing out of the tent. When it got me to the top of the hill, it let go of the tent and took off running, kept running away. And I climbed out of the tent, and my buddies were below me, down the hill. They were below, climbing out of their tents, going, what the hell's going on? I said, "Oh shit."
Yeah, no shit. What the hell's going on? Now,
Right.
from what the first time you were telling me about it with a lot of detail, you're damn lucky about where he dropped you, but it was like right next to a really steep a cliff, basically.
Yeah. Well, that's the cliff he took me up.
Uh,
Dragged me up that cliff.
he
and
didn't drop you down
off.
it. So he
No,
was like he was going up a
towards the
cliff. Carrying,
woods.
how far up did he drag you in the tent up there?
About 70 feet. That freaked me out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, all the weight inside the tent, plus me. Jesus.
Yeah, he just
There had
grabbed
to
it
be
with one
500
hand,
pounds there.
took off with you.
Yeah, just grabbed the corner and took off. That freaked me the hell out.
So at that point, you had two fun run-ins with Bigfoot.
Yeah. And the third one was when I went camping up at Wrights Lake. She walked right into the tent, or right into the campground. That freaked me out.
Did the fist thing.
Yeah.
So how much did you do a bunch of research around North America before you moved over to Germany?
Yeah, I did quite a bit. Found a place that was about 15 miles from Wrights Lake where they were pretty prevalent. Place in Kybers, California. I've got a friend there that, he passed away now, but, I told him about it. He thought I was crazy, and then he started going out and finding shit. And that was pretty wild.
Well, like I pointed out to you before, I think, right place, right time. And then at this point, you're probably a Squatch magnet anyway. So wherever you show up, they know that you're there.
Yeah.
And what was it, like 3 years from the time you got back here to North America again until you went out camping with a lady friend?
No, I still haven't slept in a tent.
Haven't slept in a tent?
No, I ain't gonna do it.
Well, you told me you went, well, maybe you weren't staying overnight, but you were out at a lake or something where you had used to camp when you were a kid. And there was a big old female Bigfoot walked out on the other side of the lake. And your friend goes, "Hey, what's that?"
Yeah, that was a dark lake. Yeah, now I know why they call it Dark Lake.
Because Black Lake was already taken.
Right.
But yeah, I remember at the time you were, kind of going like, yeah, I can't avoid them. It's the first time I've been in the woods in like 3 years. And, I'm not even paying attention. She's over there in the lakeshore going, "What's that over on the other side of the lake?"
Yeah, that was ridiculous. When I got to Germany, I didn't think there was any Bigfoot in there. So I was like, adios with the research and stuff. And then me and the girlfriend were at this palace, and there was a camp or a bench sitting right there next to the water. And I pulled up to do a selfie, and there's an X formation directly behind me, and I went, "Oh shit!" And went back up there and looked, and sure as shit, that's what it was.
No.
And at this point, you know what it is, so you're going, "How the
Yeah,
hell is there an X structure over here in Germany?"
right. Exactly. And I asked her where was the one place she got the heebie-jeebies at when she was walking around town, and she told me, and sure enough, that place was loaded.
Yeah.
There's a house down there with a dog, and that dog was nuts.
Oh God.
Dog was absolutely nuts.
Yeah, they got a territorial marker like practically right next to the property the dog's on.
Yeah, exactly. An X up against the fence.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Stupid dog, stay out.
yeah.
Yeah.
They'd probably go over and torture
That's
that thing at night.
There was 2 archways in that area too. And when you took the azimuth off of that arch and aimed it down the hill, and go down there 1.5 miles, there's another arch pointing back up.
Yeah.
That was freaky.
possible travel markers in addition to whatever else
Yeah.
they're for. Well, you already know leaners and snaps are, are trail
leaners.
markers.
Yeah, leaners are trail markers.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of upright branches, and they're just stuck, broken and stuck into the ground, and just upright.
Yeah.
They're going into the ground like over a foot, and I found them where they're counterweighted. So if they'd have just fallen from a tree, they wouldn't have fallen with the heavy end up in the air,
Yeah.
Right. That's a dead giveaway for some of the arches that we found too, because there's two ways that you can be fairly certain that it wasn't natural. One, of course, is when it's a pin down.
Yeah.
Something heavy is laying on the top of it, holding it down, usually a log. And then you can look at the log and go, well, did the log fall from? There's no stump over there. Where the hell did this log come
straight from up in the air and fall down onto this thing?
Right, exactly. There's nothing above it. Sometimes it's a whole damn tree, and it's like, where's the stump? Where did this thing come from? Because especially with the really huge arches. But the one that I find even more disturbing that we found before is where they arch the whole tree and cram the top of it into the ground to pin it.
That's what I found over there. That was freaky.
Yeah, little bushes and stuff. We found a lot of those where they've done that. But when they get, a tree that's like 35, 40 feet tall and they arch it over and cram the top 3 feet into the ground, it's like, oh, that's a big boy. They mean business. Somebody really big did this,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a picture on my website, on my YouTube, that's got that big archway. The wife is standing underneath it.
Yeah. I find a lot of arches. Last weekend, last week, a couple of weeks ago, found a really nice birch tree arch. Birch tree, and then over that, they're both pinned into the ground, is a pine tree.
Wow.
But they're both pinned, but kind of going over, not touching one another, but artistic stuff like they're both pinned at the end.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of them have been broken off so they can get the good one kind of into the ground.
Yeah, this one was pinned to the ground, and it was dug in deep, but it also had a log on top of it.
Yeah.
That was weird. Couldn't figure out what the hell would cause that until I started, there's the Bigfoot thing.
Yeah.
Took an azimuth off of that and shot it back towards those other two, and sure enough, they were pointing at each other.
Yep.
I got to give credit where it's due, and this goes to Kevin Lang from the Glag Saga, who was up here visiting with me and doing some Bigfooting. He was just road driving with the two people that he got a ride up here with, and they're driving down the road, and he ends up finding the largest embedded arch I've ever seen anywhere, and up here for sure. And he's just driving down the road, he's like, hey, stop. And they're like, why? And he goes, because there's a snap and an arch right there, and they're pointing across the road. There's something major over here. Okay. Right. So he goes walking up there. First thing he finds is an X structure made out of two uprooted trees. Roots are upright on both of them. That's about 30 feet tall. Then he goes walking further. Keep in mind, this is Glag's buddy here. Then he goes walking a little bit further down the hill, and he finds this massive arch, and it's a hardwood tree. We got the video of it there. You guys go back and look at it. The top of it is about 3 feet into the ground. The arch itself is about 20 feet in the air. And there were other markers and stuff around there that were very, very obvious. So, there's a good example of anybody that thinks that Kevin was like making up a story or anything. He was in my research area, and he found that on the road. Went, oh, marker's going this way. There's something major over there. And after we went over and surveyed it a couple times afterwards and found a ton more structures over there, it looks like there was like a couple alphas were trying to show off to each other or something. And, oh, that's nothing. Watch me make an upside down X structure out of these trees.
That's crazy.
Yeah, both those trees in that X structure still had dirt on the root system too. It's like
Jesus.
The trees didn't uproot themselves, do a cartwheel, and both get stuck like that or something.
And excellent.
And one thing I like about Tom's research over there in Germany that's currently going on is his attention to small and subtle detail.
Yeah.
Small
Yes.
stuff.
I'm so
Yeah.
used to seeing this gigantic stuff that's like skyscraper size, and it's just so freaking obvious. You can't
Yeah.
ignore it practically. And he's
Yeah.
just the opposite. He's walking around finding all this teeny tiny little detail stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that bush over there. See those 4 sticks that are right next to it there? Let's go
Yeah.
look at them. Hey, none of those are, they're all like stuck into the ground. How did they get like that? Oh,
Yeah.
none of these sticks are actually from this bush. Hey, one of these sticks is from a pine tree. Let's do a 360 scan. There isn't a pine tree within sight of this damn bush. Where did this come from? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found that
I mean, this is what's fascinating to me. This stuff, this is pine tree. That's a beech tree. That's pine, okay? Now I'm just going to take you on a quick circle around. I'm going to show you there's not a single pine tree next to me. There's one over there, very far in the distance. So someone's brought them pine trees, lent it up against into this beach. Most of them are pine. Most of them. All the way around this one tree. All in of it. Some of these trees, some of these are huge, real thick. They haven't fallen from nowhere. I can't see somewhere where they'd have fallen from. To me, they've been placed.
Some of them are tiny, little twists, little
Yeah,
twigs,
little-
and
little
twisted
tiny twists.
them just to fit
Yeah.
over things and hooked in. Little lock. You get little lock sticks where they're all kind of little. Some of them are really small. They'll come up, and then you'll have like a lock stick. I'm pretty sure if you pull that out, the whole thing will just
Mhm.
open. Kind of thing. And none of these are like in the ground. These are. If you took one of these uprights out, the whole thing would fall over.
Yeah.
And they're all coming from different directions. So it's not the wind that is miraculously like dropped these small branches to like
Yeah, to stick them in the mud.
to hold. And if you took one out, it'll all fall over. And you're telling me the wind done that? That's not the wind.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I found that over there in Germany too. I was walking up through. I was following the little stuff. I'd followed the big stuff until it became little, and then I followed the little stuff in through a tunnel in these bushes that came out, popped out into this one
Don't
area.
tell me you went through the tunnel, Bob.
I went through the tunnel. Hell yeah,
Oh,
I went
God.
through the tunnel. And this one area I called the Enchanted Forest. That place was weird.
Mm.
I ended up fell into this, it was a juvenile. And then that's when I found Bubba, the big red one. He was standing behind a bush. He was going to eat my ass. I charged him. I charged him, and he freaked out. He took off running to the right, back out into the open woods. But one thing I found that was really weird was the a big bed, and he had a mushroom top in it. It was about half eaten. So I don't know, he was getting high or something, but he ate half a mushroom.
He's all there, relaxed, tripping out,
Yeah.
having a good time.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, the crazy
balls.
human shows up, charges him, scares the crap out of him.
Yep.
Now, that would be enough to give you an attitude. He didn't get an attitude about you afterwards or anything, did he?
Oh yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's the one that I could never make friends with him. Now, Bubba I was able to make friends with, but this one I was not. That's the one that was down at West Creek, and there's another one that crossed West Creek while I was standing there in front of him. That was freaky, because it happened, and I saw it happen, and I didn't wake my stepson up to say, "Hey, look, there's one." I just sat there and watched him cross. That was weird. Took 3 steps across that creek.
Yeah. Like nothing.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Well, we were talking earlier about, for as far as I know, you're one of the first adopters of big league electromagnetic anomaly detection gear, high-speed film, all kinds of weird stuff other Bigfooters weren't trying. You're doing all of it. And as a result, you got a lot of really weird stuff in addition to Bigfoot. You got rods, and, you got little people. You got the glowing white face in the bush. You had what we were talking about earlier. What was the area you were in when your cell phone fried?
Oh, that was the road, the main road walking into the woods. It just fried the camera module, but that was weird too.
Oh,
I had the phone on in my pocket, in the shirt pocket, sticking up out. The camera lens was sticking up out of the top of my shirt, just in case, there's reports of them being pissed off about being filmed. So I had the camera in one hand and my phone in my pocket. I'm like, what the hell is that? They just sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. What the hell?
At the same time, your EM meter is also going crazy.
Yeah.
And going, why is this thing even going off? I'm standing in the middle of the woods,
Yeah, exactly. It
That's
was.
crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's really weird.
Oh, very scary.
Yeah, that's weird shit. That's the weirdness.
Yeah, I don't want anything like that.
No, Tom's got the good sense when he sees an orb, he runs the other way.
Yeah, I don't do it. And I've seen a few.
Orbs.
I've seen a good few. But I like I say, I don't want to get them. I watch them and I'll watch them go past, but I'm not going to start walking towards it or anything like that.
Brought to you by Gatorade.
Oh, man, I want a Gatorade. I'm having to live on coffee now.
Oh, Jesus.
So speaking of orbs, I know Robert isn't particularly big fan of orbs. He got hit in the forehead by one.
Yeah, I did. That was in West Creek.
So is that where Big Red is or Bubba is?
No, that's where Big Red is.
Big Red is, okay.
Yeah. Bubba was the one I made friends with.
Right.
I could sit there on one side of this hedgerow, film over on that other side, and as long as I didn't show the camera really prominent, he was right there. But then took off. That was really weird. But yeah, Big Red was the one that got me over in down West Creek.
No, it sounds like after you freaked him out while he was just trying to relax and tripping that he got a grudge against you, and he was just going to hold a grudge forever. Because I also remember, I was talking to you when all this stuff was going on, and you were telling me, yeah, I went over to Big Red's area today, and fucker zapped me again, and,
Yeah. I got
zapped. You never had any of those problems with Bubba. Bubba wouldn't do anything to you.
Yeah,
Big Red, he didn't even like you over there.
Yeah. Bubba didn't do anything, but Big Red sure did. Zapped the hell out of me.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have been over there messing around with Big Red.
Probably shouldn't have. But what the hell?
Well, you survived it anyway. So I always kind of wondered, going back to your major experience here in the U.S. when you got dragged away in your tent, what the hell was that Bigfoot up to? Or was it even a Bigfoot? Did anybody get a visual on it?
Nobody got a visual, but I heard slapping feet
Uh-huh.
as it ran off.
Well, it's not going to be a grizzly bear that's going to pick you up with a hand and climb a cliff with your
No.
tent.
No,
So,
no,
got some kind of large hominid is what did it.
yeah. It was a monster.
Pick up that kind of weight and run up a cliff with it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a monster.
Well, how long did it take from the time he grabbed your tent and took off until he put you back down again?
About 2 seconds.
A few seconds.
Yeah, about 2 seconds. And I was
2
up
seconds.
the hill and then down when I got to the top of it, he took me another about 50 feet off down the road and then let go of the tent. So in about 2 seconds, yeah, that was fun. I was in a pile of gear and everything else. That was, yeah.
No, thanks. No, my first encounter was bad enough. That's way worse.
First
Yeah, happy
encounter
grin.
was bad enough.
Well, thank you. So anyway, you managed to survive all of it and being
Yeah,
over in
I
Germany
did.
with grumpy German Bigfoot too. So now,
Yeah.
what area were you in when you were over there?
Bone Landing.
Which is how far from where you're at, Tom?
It's about 4 hours, I think.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, it's quite far. Because I'm not kind of north central of Hessen. I'm by the Harz Mountains,
Oh.
So.
Over by the really spooky Harz Mountains. That nothing spooky ever happened there or anything.
Yeah.
It's not like the Brothers Grimm would wander around collecting stories from that region or anything, right?
Yeah, well, that's the city I live in, is where the Grimm brothers used to live.
Yeah,
Oh, how grim.
Yeah. The house is like 10 minutes into the city. So it's all here.
Standing. The house
As
is
long as you're there, you should
Yeah,
go over and
walk around it. It's still there. Where they used to do all that writing, and you can go and see. Also, the castle here that used to be owned by Napoleon's brother. In the Napoleonic times.
Yeah. Short, stumpy little dude.
yeah. Corsican stump. What was it? What was the name of the guy that owned the castle? Bronap or something?
No, I think it's like Jacob Bonaparte, or it's either Jacob
Bonaparte.
Yeah.
Is it another Bonaparte?
Yeah. But how the Grimm brothers, before they started writing like about folklore and stories they'd heard, they used to write anti-Napoleon, flyers and post them around the city, and try anti-French, trying to get the French out.
Napoleon sucks propaganda.
Yeah. But yeah, this is in Hessen, like I say, and the heart is in a different Bundesland, but it's not far at all from me, 40 minutes.
I'd really love to see somebody that knows something about cryptids and tracking go into that area and do a little wander around and see what they can find.
Right.
Like somebody that knows what a structure looks like or what a Bigfoot track looks like, for example.
Right.
But yeah, I do need to go more to the Hearts.
As long as you're that close, I mean, plan on it, man. Get your buds over there. Just ask the locals, where's the creepiest place out here? And they'll point you right to where the Bigfoot are.
Yeah.
I did do a bit of it there, and I've heard that female. I heard female chatter in the forest there. That was a couple of years ago. Very high pitched, very fast.
Yeah. Well, if you heard them there, they're probably there. That's a good.
Oh yeah,
indicator.
100%, 100%.
Or at least they were there that day, and they wander around through there at some point. Yeah, I would love to see more boots on the ground over there, anywhere in Europe looking around. I mean, we've got evidence from just about every country over there that there's stuff going on. We got the video from the hikers in the Tatra Mountains in Poland. Pictures of them coming out of the mountain. They're doing this high mountain pass through all of these boulders and stuff, and they saw like 3 of them sitting on the trail up ahead of them on the opposite side of this gully. And they were filming them. And they turned around and went back again. And they're getting into ambush position. Whether those are guys or whatever the hell they are, we're going back this way.
Yeah. I would turn around too.
Yeah, I don't want to get mugged by furious yetis in the mountains somewhere in Eastern Europe. Doesn't sound like a good plan.
Not when you fall out. That's pretty intense.
No, even if they were, just people that were wearing all black onesies or something, they were huge people that were obviously on the trail up ahead of them, getting into position for ambush before they got there. So either way, you turn around and you go back again.
Or yell at them and charge them.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, that works out great all the time too. Kelly Shaw, if you're watching this, do not take his advice. Okay, so back.
I had a stroke. Do not follow my advice.
He got zapped a bunch of times because of that advice. Do not follow his advice.
Yeah. It's hard.
That puts you on the officially naughty list when you start running toward them. They don't know how to react to that. You're supposed to be scared and run away, not run toward them.
Make friends with them.
Oh. Well, you could have just stood there and went, hi.
Yeah.
Wave it. Hi.
I know what he means though, because when I saw mine, I had the urge and I just ran towards it, to see it run.
Yeah.
I couldn't feel it.
Yeah, they hold a grudge for a long time.
Yeah. I've had a few times where
grudge for 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're lucky if they ever release a grudge. They're really good at holding grudges.
Yeah.
One of them got mad at me over something minor, and it took him 1.5 years to not be mad at me anymore. And it wasn't even like somebody should have been mad at me for it to start with.
Good Lord.
Yep, they're good at holding grudges. Well, they don't trust humans to start with. So if you give them any reason to not trust you, they're gonna see. I told you can't trust humans. Don't hang around with humans.
Yeah.
And usually the only time any of that's happening if there's interaction going on is because the alpha in the group thinks it's okay. Because otherwise, if there's any interaction with you, they're going to get their ass whooped if the alpha isn't in favor of it.
Right.
So it's pretty much up to the alpha if there's going to be any interaction at all. And if they're not in favor of it, not only will they maybe bully you out of the area, but everybody under their, control command is also going to feel free, like, they can bully you out of the area too if they feel like it. So it's not a good situation to be in. Try and be on their good side. And even if you are, there's like areas you go into where they just don't want humans there at all. And it doesn't matter who you are, and go away. So you got to be able to be aware of that. Like, these ones are definitely making displays like, you suck, go away. Well, take the hint. And even the ones that, areas where I got a couple areas here where I've been doing research on the same groups for about 10 years now. And, they can have times when there's something else going on around there and they just don't want you around. It's not that they're mad at you or anything. It's just like, go away. Maybe there's other dangerous cryptids around there that they haven't chased out of the area yet. And they definitely want you to come back and bring them more bacon and peanut butter in the future. But if they don't chase you out now, these other cryptids might kill you, and then they won't get any bacon and peanut butter in the future. And yes, they're smart enough to know that.
Crazy.
So, how long were you boots on the ground over in Germany, Robert?
I was there for 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And Tom, how many years have you been like actually prowling around the woods looking for them now?
Yeah, 11 years now.
11 years.
Yeah,
You were at it while I was over there.
yeah. No, cool.
That's what makes it strange that I had to have a show and get both of you guys to actually talk to each other. And as
Yeah.
much as you were both there, boots on the ground at the same time, and somehow didn't know about each other,
Yeah, I know.
it's pretty interesting.
I wasn't on, I wasn't doing Facebook or YouTube. Anything I found, I just kept it to myself. It was only after I had the sighting, when I was 100%, convinced then, and I knew. And then I thought, right, I'm going to start, showing people what I find.
Yeah.
Oh, if I never had the sighting, I don't think I would have.
But I know the one you got off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like your timing was good, Tom. Right about the
Yeah.
time Robert came back over here, you took over.
Yeah.
That's why I like to pick on both these guys, and I call them Bigfoot in Germany Mach 1 and Bigfoot in Germany Mach 2.
There's a lot of it, everywhere over here. This is a really big thing, and it's crazy that it's blowing my mind. Really, two people are finding the same things. I know more people that are finding the same things, but we're not all seeing things out there that are nothing. This is real. This is
That far apart too.
Yeah.
Well, another good example in the last show, our first episode on Europe for European cryptid February, we're talking about cryptids in the Czech Republic, and as Jakub was pointing out, they got two different names for things that sound like Bigfoot. The descriptions match Bigfoot. They use them as Halloween costumes. The little kids wear these things. They're shirts, they look like Bigfoot. Then when the kids get older, they put those costumes on to scare the little kids. They're all taught to know what these things sound like when they're little kids. It's all over the damn place in their culture, but Bigfoot isn't real and they don't know anything about it.
Right. We have Foshing. Foshing, they have what looks like a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
All dressed up and handing out candies and stuff to the kids.
Yeah.
That's freaky.
Yep. Yeah, as we pointed out with the Czech Republic show last week, the church is their version of Krampus, basically.
Yeah.
And he's Santa Claus's hitman, follows him around, and Santa hands out the head pats and the candy. Krampus hands out the ass whippings and throws them in a bag and hauls them home for Christmas dinner, or he eats them later. And the original description of like the Chert and Krampus and everything like that apparently had nothing to do with the way they're depicted now. They didn't have hooves, tails, or horns. They were just big hairy things that lived in the woods and served Santa Claus, apparently. So there's another weird wrinkle to it.
Bigfoot serves Santa Claus.
Yeah, Bigfoot is Santa Claus henchman. Now, if you want to know how Santa knows if you've been naughty or nice, if you've been good or bad, how the hell does he know? He's not watching all the time. Yeah, but the Bigfoot are, and they report back to him. So all you kids, you better be good because friggin' Bigfoot's watching you. And if you're bad, he's going to tell Santa, and then Santa's going to say, oh, you can mug him and throw him in a bag and haul him away and eat him on Christmas because this kid's a brat.
Yeah.
And that's the message from Europe, the sunny, charming, friendly place that it is. where nothing bad ever happens and no one ever wrote the grim fairy tales. Yeah, in America, it's all sunshine and roses. You know, we don't have any bad enforcer guy that goes around with Father Christmas and hands out butt whoopings. We just have Father Christmas show up and shower you with presents. And
Yeah, that's it.
it's not a competition in the U.S. Everybody gets an award.
Yeah. And, you know,
Anyway.
when I was listening to that, to the show there, and it was interesting because, like you say, they've got different names for it. In Germany, they just, you know, the normal wild man, the Bigfoot, they're just called Wilderman. And
Yep.
me and my girlfriend always kind of laugh at this because in Germany, they really name things as what they are. You know, there's nothing imaginative really about them. It's, you know, like a kettle, you know, to boil water. Like that's a Wasserkocher. Everything named for what it is or its function. And so I think that's quite interesting. You know, they called it Wilderman. That's what it is. It's been like that forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm often caught wondering if there was like a lot of German immigrants out here in western Montana because everything is named exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Sapphire Mountain Range. Guess what's in the Sapphire Mountain Range? Sapphires. It's like literally that bad. If it says Crazy Mountains or something, don't friggin' even think about going there. If they named it that, there's a good reason for it.
Yeah, like the crazies.
Yeah. In this case, what they think is the reason for it is if you guys ever seen the movie Jeremiah Johnson, they got one scene in there where he's got this woman whose husband got killed and she went crazy and she's got all her kids and natives are scared of her because she's crazy. They think she's like big medicine, so they just ignore her and leave her there with the kids. And then they had like some kind of a place where they'd leave the remains of all the braves that Jeremiah Johnson was killing off because he was her protector. So they had this like neutral territory. They'd show up and leave trinkets and stuff from all the ones that they kept sending after him, and he was killing them. But that, at least the part of the story where there was the crazy woman with the kids that was living in the mountains there is literally true. And that's how the mountain range got its name, the Crazy Mountains. Because that big medicine crazy woman was living there with her kids until they got killed too.
I always wondered how the Crazy Mountains got their name.
Yep. Yeah, if you see any small mountain ranges that named like Certain Death Mountains, Forbidden Mountain Range.
Certain Death.
Yeah, don't go to that. Oh, you've been up to the Certain Death Range here in western Montana yet? Yeah, lots of people like to go up there, and not many come back, but they like going up there.
Yeah, avoid that one at all costs.
Yeah, be careful. Well, you know, if the Dyatlov group had actually listened to that and noticed that, you know, they're going to camp on a place called the Mountain of Death in an area that the locals have named Don't Go Here.
Yeah.
Take a hint.
Definitely.
Yeah, let's go camp on O'Torton. What's that mean? Mountain of Death. Don't worry about it. Let's go camp there.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just
I'm sure the locals are totally wrong. It's a beauty spot. They named it that just to keep people from finding out about it and camping there all the time. And we get the same thing here in the U.S. with a lot of the peculiarly named places, you know, like Devil's this and, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, generally there's some kind of really bad juju attached to it. Something horrible happened there in the past, or, you know, legends about something horrible happening there or whatever. So generally when you hear something like that, wherever you're at, you might want to actually look up how the place got its name.
yeah.
Especially before you go camp there and stuff. Might really be good to know. So out of all the time that you spent boots on the ground over there, Robert, what was your favorite German Bigfoot related moment?
Probably when they followed me home.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You got to watch that one. They'll follow you home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how'd you know they followed you home?
I lived on a cul-de-sac at the end of a cul-de-sac, and there was a big kindergarten there. It had about 100 kids in it, and I saw them walking up the hill. That freaked me the hell out.
Yeah. Sure.
That would freak me out too.
Yeah.
I was like, good, the kids are going to get eaten.
And it's all your fault.
It's all my fault.
You led them back to the prime food source.
Right. It took up residence in a tree over there, though. It was a parking lot for the kindergarten.
So it didn't bother anybody. It just sat there and watched them.
Yeah, I just sat there and just sat there and scowl at them.
Yeah. Well, you know what happens when they find out where the playgrounds where all the kids are now. You've just shown them the latest, their favorite new TV channel.
Oh, yeah.
And they know. So, yeah, now they know where all the entertainment is. Oh, yeah. Kids over here tearing around making a racket all the time.
Yeah. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning one time. I looked out the window and there was a Bigfoot coming up the walk from one street over. That was pretty trippy.
Yeah, I bet. Especially at that time.
Yeah, especially at 3.
Well, I'm presuming this is after your orb experience wore off, so you weren't having the benefit of anything like that. It was
definitely after. It was
so
after.
They were like, so for the benefit of the people that also missed that one much earlier when we were talking about it, you want to go into the experience with the orb and hitting you in the forehead and what happened afterwards?
Yeah, that was weird because I turned around and bam, it hit me in the forehead, on the left side of my forehead, and it felt like just like a little puff of air. And that freaked me out. I was like, holy shit, you know. And I left the area, and then as time grew on, more and more things started happening to me. Like so don't ever let anyone tell you that Bigfoot research is, free of harm. That was really weird. I was testing a new camera out that I gotten on this tree, shooting into direct sunlight, and that was weird. I saw all kinds of shit during that camera test, and by the time I got home, all that footage was gone.
Footage.
Yeah, the footage from the camera test that I just done.
Yeah,
it was all gone.
And then you had a lot of bad after effects for about a month after being hit in the head by that thing too.
Yeah, just what I saw was like a bleeding over from their realm into ours, and it went on for about a month. I went through.
During which time, yeah, you could pretty much see through the veil. You were seeing all the stuff that was on the other side of the veil, superimposed on our reality.
Yeah,
which would be terrifying, seeing huge things walking down the street that nobody else can even see them.
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up having to go through an exorcism for that, and that broke it.
Yeah.
But there was one thing that was left after the exorcism, which was I could, like, if they tried to cloak and hide, they couldn't. I could still see them, which was really weird. Going out into the woods and that was weird.
So if you do get hit in the forehead with an orb after it wears off, you may get the superpower of being able to see them when they're cloaking. Man, that would be handy.
I don't want that. I mean, that's shocking, isn't it? That's too scary, you know. So
That
that's why.
That's really weird. That was really weird.
The other after effect that Robert was having problems with is it seemed like whatever the entity was trying to at least partially control his actions, because he ended up erasing a ton of video and evidence that he had collected for no damn reason.
Crazy.
Well,
That was crazy. Yeah, I remember that. And what the hell did I do that for?
Yeah, you said all of a sudden it was just like I woke up and went, "What the hell am I erasing things for?
Yeah.
This is stupid. Why the hell did I start doing this?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks for remembering that, because I'd forgotten about it.
Yep. Yeah, that's where you got your magical power. Actually, just joking around here, but literally he ain't kidding, because I can take a picture where just about nobody can see anything with it, and I can show it to 3 people: Robin, Christy, and Robert, and all 3 of them will point to the same spot and go, "There's one right there."
Yeah,
that's crazy. Awesome.
that was what was left of.
I'll have to
The
send you some
residual from
pictures.
getting whacked in the head with an orb, and he got some semi-superpowers out of it.
Yeah, just crazy.
Well, it's biblical too. It says that the Lord has the veil is there to protect us from seeing it. We're not supposed to be able to see what's on the other side of the veil, because apparently we'll go nuts if we do. So that's a protective measure for our tiny brains, because if we can really actually see what's wandering around, we'd freak out.
Oh yeah, definitely. As someone who's seen through the veil, yes. You'd freak out.
Can you remember any examples? Can you remember examples of anything you
there
saw
was
while that was going?
this one. I was looking across this field at the road, and there was 2 big, huge monsters walking up the road, just walking right up the road. And then when I took did the camera test, something big climbed out of the tree, which was plenty weird in itself.
I know one of the things you caught over there, again, you were talking about that one area was the enchanted forest, but you were getting things that looked like the terrain was rearranging itself. Parts of trees were disappearing. Whole trees would disappear and not be there the next time you showed up. And you could look at your old video and compare it to the new one and go, "Where the hell are these 3 trees that were here last time? They're not even here."
Yeah, exactly. They must have walked away or something.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, the bottoms would disappear and the trees would move.
Wow.
That was weird. That was weird.
Captain understatement. Well, those trees disappeared. That was weird.
Yeah.
No chainsaws, no sawdust, nobody came in here and cut them down. They're just not here. They were here yesterday. Where'd they go?
There was 2 trees over there that were like flags. They would stick out of the forest, and they were dead. And one of them was up by the street, and one of them was way down to the other end of this big huge meadow that was in there. You can see that meadow from space. But the one that's down at the end was where the Grand Auditorium video was filmed at. And they completely rearranged that, which was weird, because there wasn't any sawdust from a chainsaw. There wasn't any drag marks for the trees, and yet the trees were different.
Wow.
There was 3 trees like that. 1, 2, and then 3 leaning up against another tree. And when I came back in there the last time, the doorway to the auditorium was broken off, was closed by 3 big trees, boom, 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 stacked up, which was weird. Yeah, they had
similar, where there's one tree that's been broken, very thick, about 2 meters up. Leaning off that is another one, and then, like you say, there's 2 underneath.
Yeah.
You know. found exactly the same. That's where that big ash tree been a big ash tree thick, and it's been bent and wrapped around this big pine tree there, and then it comes down and underneath this, snap. And it's fresh. It's a fresh pine tree, probably about that thick, and it snapped
Yeah,
off.
how did that stuff bend without breaking?
There's no way.
It's almost semi-believable with pine trees or something, but then you see them do it with hardwoods, and you're like, okay, that's just freaking impossible.
Trees.
Yeah.
It's
ash tree. They've twisted it and bent it. I mean, the ash tree is probably, that was probably about this sort of thickness. But how the pine tree had been snapped, about 2 meters high. And that's crazy.
Yeah. That big arch was a beech, which is a hardwood.
Yeah.
That's some tough wood.
Now that giant arch that Kevin found over here, that was a hardwood tree. It wasn't a pine tree.
Yeah.
The same thing, and that thing is, like
Yeah,
that big rock. How the hell do you arch something and not break it?
Yeah. Power is wild.
I wonder how they pick the trees. How do they pick the trees that they're going to use to do that with?
Yeah, that's another thing,
The beech tree was like that.
I mean, even when you see I find a lot of trees with a lot of leaners up around the edge, around the sides.
Oh, yeah.
You look at every other tree, there's nothing leaning up there.
Yeah.
It's just they pick one tree to do it around. Or if you're following single leaners, they'll all be in a line, but then, they pick different trees for that to do it on, right?
Right.
One thing I don't think I've seen from either of you guys over there yet are really big examples of fence structures that we found all over the place here. And sometimes they'll take an entire tree and they'll hang it like 15, 20 feet in the air across 3 or 4 other trees. Rich Soul documented a bunch of those. I found a couple of them over here.
I've just filmed one last week.
Yeah,
there you go. Well, you seem to be in doubt about that one as to how it got there, that it maybe could have flopped over that way naturally.
Yeah,
and these ones, there was no doubt. We went and looked and went, there's no base on this tree. There's no hole in the ground it came out of. How to get 15 feet up there. And, Taylor found one in, where the hell was he at? Over in central part of the U.S. It was so big, you had to take a video of it and go, there's the far end of the tree over there. It's above me, and it goes way down there. It's like 15 feet up.
Yeah, this is very similar to what I've just filmed, but
there was one had two trees pushed up together like this, and then 2 more trees, and then this one tree laying across the top of it.
Yeah.
That was weird.
So they made their own center section to hold it up, basically. Is what you're saying. Yeah.
With 2.
Yeah, that really doesn't look like anything natural at that point.
No.
That's ridiculous.
Like, what's this big? Yeah, it's weird.
So, Tom, what's your favorite thing that you've Bigfoot wise experience that you've had over there in Germany since? Okay. Question was, back to you now. What's your favorite Bigfoot experience since you've been over there in Germany?
Yeah, it would be definitely exciting,
Yeah.
And just the run up to the sighting, because I had them paralleling me there in this really dark forest area. Before this, it was the first time I ever got uncomfortable in the forest. Like I really felt out my league, like really vulnerable, And then I just
if I remember right, you had like misty, foggy conditions while you were filming anyway, didn't you?
in foggy conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because I know after the fact, you were even like uncertain. You're like, that really looks like a Bigfoot over there. It could just be a trick, and
Oh,
whatever. And then you came back and looked the next day and went, here's the exact spot
Yeah.
where this thing that I think I saw and got on video was standing. And oh, look, there's 17-inch tracks right there where this thing was
Yeah,
standing.
right.
Yeah.
That's a different location. That's a different location to my actual site, and with my eyes where it ran past me.
Right.
It's about 40-minute hike away. But that's where I hear a lot of wood knocks there, and there's, I call it the gallery there. There's so many structures on this valley bank. It's unbelievable. And that's when that was a misty day, and I just had these previous wood knocks replying to me talking. I was, trying to attempt to see if I could communicate with them. Somebody had recommended it to me, and it worked. I was hearing wood knocks. I said, I'm going to go sit down over there, hear another wood knock. I don't even think it is wood knocks. I think they do it with the mouth. That's
Could be
just my
mouth pops, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I had a
my
member of my research team that could do a mouth pop so loud if he did it next to you, it would deafen you.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they know how to do that, it would make. They don't need a piece of wood in order to do it.
No.
It's all similar. They all sound the same. They're all, and it's difficult to do that with wet wood, and depending on the tree to do it with.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's and then I noticed on my video that's standing in the background. And then I've been back there, and there's nothing there. There's just really thin, lush branches there. Like there's nothing big with big, thick thighs.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you get. That's happened to me a few times at my areas where I'm looking at the video or whatever going, there's no big black blob back there. What the hell is that? There shouldn't be anything there. I've seen this spot 30 times,
Yeah.
So then you come back and you stand in the same place and you film the same spot and you compare the two, and well, whatever that blob was, it ain't there now. It moved.
Yes.
You can't
You
think
kind
it
of
was a
feel it.
Bigfoot, but on the other hand, there was something animate there. It moved. It's not there now.
Yeah, no. You can see a form, a mass behind, keeping that part hidden, but you can still see the shadow of the whole silhouette of her. She's just not showing herself. I wouldn't even noticed it. I didn't notice it. I was filming.
I sometimes wonder if if fog interferes with their ability to cloak completely. So we still see sort of a foggy outline of them even when they're trying to cloak.
Very possible. When I saw the one in front of me, that was on a sunny day, very sunny. I could see the reason I could see all the muscles and the shape of her hair and how it flowed with her body, with this ginger kind of glow to her, this red kind of glow. That was because of the sun shining on her. Yeah.
Well, let either one of you guys field this question, whoever wants to go first. What do you say to detractors, trolls, and general knuckleheads in the U.S. that think that there aren't any Bigfoot in Germany?
They're fools.
Yeah.
They're fools.
Yeah, sure. And I don't think these people have ever even tried to look.
Right. Well, most of them haven't even been over there.
That's what I meant. How can you say it's not there, or that's 100% bullshit if you've never even tried to look or looked at any of the history on it or anything?
In an area where they aren't there. That's
There wasn't any Bigfoot there. Why did they name the town Wildermann after a Bigfoot?
right.
That's 40 minutes away from me. 40-minute drive. I go there. It's real.
Yeah, if you guys were watching during the intermission, you saw the fountain in the middle of the town of Wildermann with the wild man standing on top of the fountain, and also lots of carvings on wooden doors and lintels on cathedrals, and
Yeah.
depictions on beer mugs and all kind of stuff. I made that intermission specifically for when Robert was on years ago, and I still like to use it because it's here's all the stuff in Europe that was made during that time depicts the wild man that you guys were all
A
trying
lot
to
of
say doesn't
coats
exist.
of arms and family names have wild man as their symbol.
Yeah, exactly. We've got old, still in archives and stuff, things that the nobles, even in like the British Isles, were sending around to each other. Hey, we're going to go have a hunting trip. You guys over there, and they send out one to each one. They have them printed up. Come down to our hunting trip. We're going to spend 3 days. We're going to go hunt elk and boar and wild man. And like they would literally list stuff like that. So like, what are they talking about? We're going to go hunt the woodwolves too, right? What?
Yeah.
No wonder you don't have any of them left in the British Isles anymore. You guys just go around and hunt them. And Germans had a different idea. They just enlisted them to help them kick the Romans out of Germany and gave them the forest in perpetuity.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Kind of why they've always had this weird thing about not cutting their forests down or anything, probably for the last 2,000 years.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So the Germans made allies with the Bigfoot instead of trying to hunt them.
They really do leave the forest. I do like that.
That's one thing a lot of people that haven't been there don't understand about Germany. They have gigantic ancient forests that have been there like for frickin' ever.
Yeah. And they're all connected, even if they're not, they'll be just like bush, kind of bushland, in between. It's easy to get from one to the other. Do it easy.
Yeah,
Just
for old growth German forests, they set up grids of trees and stuff that are sacrificial. That protects the old growth forest.
I know the area that Robert was in, that was really, really old because there were still like segments of old Roman roads and stuff in that area.
That was something, though. You could feel the old growth forest. You literally could feel the energy from that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the hell it happened, but there it is.
That creepy ancient forest energy.
No,
the Grimm brothers like to talk about that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
No, I mean, Robert, when you were, go ahead.
There was trees out there that looked like something from a Grimm's fairy tale.
Yeah.
Just old, craggy looking trees that looked like they were gonna just reach down and grab you or something. That was weird.
A lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, those damn trees that grab hobbits and try to like strangle them and stuff until Tom Bombadil comes along and saves.
All kind of long branches that curve in.
Yeah.
It's big.
And the bottom of the trees disappears, and then a tree can go walk on to someplace else. Yeah, that was weird.
God. The creepy ancient forest of Germany and the two intrepid gentlemen that actually do research there. So getting back to the closing question here. Do people... It's easy to understand how people that don't think there's any Bigfoot over there could totally miss the mark. But for people that actually do supposedly do the research on Bigfoot, are supposedly knowledgeable about it, and can, and I say supposedly, find a Bigfoot, what's their damn excuse?
I don't know. Lazy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
because all you got to do is walk out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's I've said, I'll take anybody out to go see some prints.
Yeah, I would too. Same thing.
Every time.
Yeah.
Same thing here. I was just talking to
or structure, they're easy to find.
I was just talking to one of the producers from Gaia TV earlier today saying, well, if you want to see some Bigfoot prints, come up here. I'll show them to you. Take you right to where there's Bigfoot. We'll find prints. Pretty much do about 90% of the time. It'd be pretty strange if we didn't find prints in some of these areas. Well, what I'm saying.
Right.
It's like you could just about guarantee you're going to find prints if you want to go to all the trouble to get way the hell in there where they're at and walk around. You're going to find some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it just it boggles me how there can be that much lore, legendary, folklore tradition from over there on the continent where Tom's at right now that points to this, if not currently going on, at least in the past. It was all over the place. It was all over the continent. And how anybody who claims to know something about Bigfoot can look at all that and go, oh, there's nothing to it. How did they make up all the same legends as the natives in North America had hundreds of years before they contacted anybody over here?
Right.
Okay.
Sun's coming in, it's going to screw with the camera. Got a UV filter on this, but I don't know if it's going to help the sun right at it. But she's over there by herself, walking right through a ground blind. So is there anything with her? Anything that's not quite visible to the eye? See that nice X formation right there with her? The sun flare on the lens, that's not an orb or anything. It's just those are just flares.
And, one of the people in particular we're talking about who's just the most baffling because should know better, but he also runs this organization that takes Bigfoot reports that likes to alter them because apparently they don't like some of the information that's on them. And this has happened to Robert because he sent in his report, and being that he's former military, they give out the information in excruciating detail.
Yeah.
And his report was originally about 3 pages long. And now years later, they keep cutting it down, cutting out the information, changing it. And now it's down to what, about a paragraph and a half that doesn't even make sense?
2 paragraphs now.
Yeah. So this is the basically fake research organization.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that are involved in it are really good people and they have good intentions, but the people at the top do not have good intentions. And they are running an agenda to appear to be science-y. And just for the sake of that, they're altering the reports. And if you think that taking some of the information out of a data set equals creating a good data set, you're freaking insane. And we're all on the subject of insanity. Let's talk about a certain TV show that wasted everybody's time for 10 years, hollering and beating on trees, and never get any success. You had limitless budget, you had 10 years, you couldn't find it once. In fact, you're incompetent. Nobody should listen to anything you have to say. Nobody should pay attention to anything that you've got to say because you had 10 years and limitless budget and you couldn't even do it right once. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, you couldn't find a Bigfoot. You can't even find your own butt if you had a roadmap in both hands to work with. You ain't finding a Bigfoot no matter how hard you look.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
And this particular person that I'm referencing had some tardy things to say about Tom recently, too. about how there are no Bigfoot in Europe. And Tom is obviously a grifter who's trying to sell swag, never mind the fact he
Yeah.
doesn't have any damn swag available for sale,
You're
Yeah.
kidding.
nor is his channel
That'll,
monetized.
you know,
Jesus.
Let's look at who's monetized that's got the big mouth. Oh, it's this other fat jabroni that's running the fake research organization that couldn't find a Bigfoot in 10 years with a limitless budget and can't find his own ass with both hands. We should pay attention to what he has to say, right?
Yeah,
Wake the hell up.
that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
you know, they'd given no time to look at my stuff, I'm sure of it. But they're convinced it's all bullshit or, you know.
Yeah.
But they've never
Well,
found
the other thing,
never looked. You know, they've never looked properly. I don't think they've ever found a print. I don't know, they might have, but I mean,
I heard a
think-
legend that they actually had a native tracker with him who was on, part of the cast, and his job was to run around the areas they were researching, see if he could find any tracks or anything. Well, either he was terrible at his job and never found any tracks, or if he did, they never showed them on the show. Why would they do that?
Well, you know,
Other peculiar things, like one of my friends who happens to be a forestry person in Canada was right there when they were filming their episode, one of their episodes in Canada, during their town hall meeting. And they were sitting right in the crowd listening to everybody tell their stories and stuff, and then finally got late enough and they went, well, we got to go do a nighttime recon in the forest and see what we can find. And they left. So then this forestry person that I know just discreetly followed them to see where they were going to. And they went to a park in the middle of town and did their nighttime filming there. Obvious hoaxers.
That's ridiculous.
Is it never finding Bigfoot or always hoaxing Bigfoot? Whichever one.
Bigfoot.
Maybe that's, it's good that you didn't find anything. You didn't have to hoax it like that other show that's on right now that never finds anything but likes to make crap up.
There's another show on.
Yeah, it's something like Hoaxpedition Bigfoot or something.
This. I haven't seen that one yet.
Well, you haven't missed anything. They couldn't find their own butts with both hands either. They have to make up stuff. Thinker Thunker has called him out 3 times already for making crap up, and he said he's going to be on them like flies on shit. And every time they try and roll out some more crap, he's going to point it out.
Good.
you know, it's obvious when they're walking around these places with how many cameramen do they take? You know,
Oh, I
there's
know.
big groups, there's huge
Yeah.
groups of people going out there. They can't see anything, it's all pitch black dark. You're not going to see anything, and even if you see a print, like, it's going to be a miracle.
I used
All
to
the
Wait.
film crew and everything on Finding Bigfoot. Speaking of that show, from what I heard, they actually had an agreement on their contract that they didn't have to go further than 100 yards into the woods.
Yeah.
So when they walked into the woods any further than that, that's why there's those big camera rig gears on, because the cameramen are too lazy. They got their couple tractor trailers full of minions and gear that they roll up in. Yeah, Bigfoot are going to hang around for this. Are you freaking kidding me?
Good Lord. I used to
And
take
then
one
the other thing, go ahead, Robert.
cameras. I used to take one of my small cameras, put it on a tripod, and hide it in the woods. And you could hear them. You could hear them walk up to the camera, but you wouldn't see them on the
Yeah.
in the film. That was a trip. Did that.
Well, the
several
thing that always got
times.
me about Finding Bigfoot was just the methodology. We're presuming right from the get-go that these people actually supposedly know something about Bigfoot and how to get close to one. And yet the methodology that they kept using and exhibiting every single show, hooting and hollering, beating on trees, blah, blah, blah. Anybody that's a real field researcher on Bigfoot will tell you that these are methods that are guaranteed to make Bigfoot run the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So you will never have an
Sure.
encounter. So
Sure.
here's the question then, that being a given at this point for anybody that knows anything, they can tell you that. What were they up to exactly? Were they completely ignorant and just giving everybody really bad advice? Or did they know it was really bad advice and they didn't want people to actually be able to find a Bigfoot?
I think they didn't want people to find one.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely
That's the way
possible.
they do.
The other option, of course, is that they really sincerely believed it was good methodology, and that's why they're following it all the time. Which at this point, the old axiom about insanity comes in, where you keep trying to do the same failed methodology over and over and over again, and it doesn't work, and it's not going to work. Clearly, that's a definition of insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if this certain person is running the show, and his way is it's his way or the highway, you know what I'm on about.
Right.
Then I could definitely see it being insanity that he just does his way, the same way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That-
sad.
yeah.
But that's, general warning to everybody out there. If you're seriously interested in the reality of Bigfoot, do not watch TV shows thinking they're going to tell you anything. They're made for TV. They have to be exciting. They make up crap to make it
Get out of the woods and be
exciting.
quiet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Be quiet. You know, I'm always alone when I'm out there, so
I was alone too.
you know,
Yep.
the best way to be. If you want to get, experiences,
Yeah.
you know.
I started out being exclusively a loner, going out in the woods by myself, and then I had a channel, and as soon as I did, I started getting hell for it.
Yeah.
And then when it's too dangerous, you don't have weapons even, and you're in grizzly territory, bring someone else with you.
Grizzly.
Okay. So I started bringing them with me, and then I started going like, hey, this isn't a bad thing. Now I have witnesses to what's going on, and sometimes they're the ones that are filming the stuff, not me.
Right.
Yeah. I definitely think,
You don't have
you
to.
want as well. You get this sense of awareness more as well. You're more, sensitive to your surroundings, and listening, and you move differently as well, and
Yeah.
and that helps.
I think you've probably got some pretty mild Bigfoot over there in Germany, to be honest with you guys. They seem like, for the most part, they're really non-aggressive, just want to stay the hell away from humans. And
Yeah.
Robert will tell you there's areas over here where the locals are not friendly, and they will chase your ass out as soon as you go in there, and they just don't give a crap. They'll start throwing trees at you.
Well, over here we carry guns
Yeah.
in the woods. Over there they don't. They don't have guns.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
Well, that plus at the time when they did have guns, they were really, really good hunters, and they were pretty fabulously successful at getting rid of most of the predators there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there aren't no bears or anything. I've heard that one before. Probably a bear, and I'm like, there's no bears in the centre of Germany. I don't know, it's been 200 years longer.
Right. Now they've got the wolves.
We got
The
wolves
Yeah.
here. We got
coming back.
and millions of wild boar. I mean, like.
Oh Jesus! Wild boar was. There was one time I found a wild boar laying out in the middle of the woods, just piled up in some really tall grass, and he looked like he was good eating. I left him be though.
Yeah.
I had a guy on years ago that was stationed over in Germany. He was a tank driver, and he was, operating inside of this area that was a huge chunk of woods that was fenced off, 15-foot tall fence, barbed wire on top. People aren't allowed to go in there. People actually that work inside of it usually just stay on their vehicles. They don't wander around in the woods or anything. And the place is full of wild boar. So guess who else is inside the fence? They're eating the wild boar. So he's out with this little tank platoon. They got 5 tanks, and they're cruising up this valley. It's got like a little ridge that goes up on both sides. And as they're driving, him and one of the other drivers are heads up looking out. And there's this huge Bigfoot standing on the edge of this ridge watching all 5 tanks. And he turns around and just nonchalantly walks up the ridge into the woods. And he's looking at the other guy. And the other guy's looking at him. He's like, "Did you see that?" And he's like, "Yeah, what the hell?" And apparently they're so used to seeing all these vehicles drive around and stuff, they never get shot at or anything. So they just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Here comes
Yeah.
5 tanks. Well, I guess I better go hide in the woods now.
Jesus.
But yeah, he said that, from what he could guess as the size, it was around 9 or 10 feet. So it was a big boy. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything human size.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see them. They're taking advantage of this. Nobody ever walks around in the woods in here. This place is swarming with wild boar. All we have to do is avoid these vehicles that drive around occasionally. We got it made,
Right.
Now, it's Daniel, if I remember right, that did that report. Thanks for coming on the show and doing that a long time ago, Daniel. That was really, really quite interesting. Bigfoot versus the tank is, I think, the name of that. Bigfoot meets a tank or something like that. But, okay, well, we got almost 2 hours in here, so as much fun as it's been, we better get going. Anything that you want to pass along to the audience, Robert?
No.
Well,
No,
and for
no.
my part, I encourage everybody to get their butts over to Robert's old channel, Bigfoot in Germany, and go check out all the stuff that he's put out, because there's some really wild stuff that he got video of while he was over doing the research in Germany.
Yeah, there was some pretty weird stuff.
Indeedy. And thanks for taking the time to come on the show. I know Robert's been having medical issues and just had a stroke a few months ago, so he's trying to recover from that. So I really appreciate him taking the time and the effort to be on the show and share some of his experience with us. Really appreciate it, bud.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's been really great to actually, speak to you face to face.
Yeah.
The whole reason I got in touch with Duke last year was to try and get in touch with you. And first time we've actually spoken is on the Duke show.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
I like first. So anyway, you guys, now that you know each other, you should keep in touch and do some more talking and trade notes and stuff, because I'm sure you could both benefit from what the other guys figured out, being that you're not in the exact same area of Germany. There might be some weird little differences there that would be fun.
Yeah.
And Tom, I
Yeah.
want everybody to get over and sub his channel. It's really cool. It's little. It hasn't got very many videos out yet. Trails in the Woods. And I'll try and remember to put a link down below so you guys can find it directly, because channel's still so small that if more people would get over there and sub him, that would help in the search engine, so other people would then start finding his really cool channel. So yeah, both of these guys are, the tip of the spear in Europe. They're actually boots on the ground, butt in the field in Germany, looking around to see what's over there. And as far as I'm concerned, you two guys pretty much proved, certainly to my satisfaction, that there are Bigfoot in Germany.
Yes, there are.
100%. 100%.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to be here again next Sunday, when we're going to have the Gypsy Death Cult from Transylvania with the lovely Danielle Diva as our guest. And don't forget to hit the like button. Please leave a comment in the description or the comments section underneath the video after the video is over. And please make use of the live PayPal link in the description, because
Definitely.
YouTube doesn't pay crap, and I really need the help. So anybody that actually gives a donation to me via PayPal, you will have your name on the producer list at the beginning of the show. That's how those people get their names on there. They donate to the show, they become part of the producers. But even if you're not a producer, watch the show, share it around. I love all you guys, and until next week, just remember that just because you think Bigfoot might not be there, you might be wrong about that.
Definitely.
Make sure that you're kind to everyone. Safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puck, would you? And for God's sake, whatever you do, do not hug the Wookiee.